doesn't get killed, he's probably going to be somebody at some point. But I didn't expect to see him. I don't know. I guess it was in the late 70s. I saw him at Fort Bragg. No, I guess it was in the 80s. I saw him at Fort Bragg, and he was a captain. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, how can you be a captain? I'm a major.
Yeah.
You were a Spec 4 the last time I saw you, and now you're a captain. And I thought that was great. So we hung out a little bit. He was in Delta. Uh-huh. So we chatted about, Delta Force and all that kind of stuff. And, had some good times while we were there together at Bragg. And then I guess, the next time I actually saw him, he was a major. And he was going through the Command and General Staff College. And I'm thinking, I'm about to get promoted, but I'm still a major too. How's this guy doing this? And, then the next thing, he's a lieutenant colonel, and then he's a full colonel, and, ends up a major general. And he's just constantly going. And everybody kept telling me, get out of Special Forces. Special Forces is a kiss of death for an officer. You stay in Special Forces, you're not going anywhere. Well, he did. Yeah. I mean, not only did he did great on that tour with SOG, he did a second tour. He ended up not just being in Delta, he came back and commanded Delta Force. And then overall special operations and all this kind of stuff. I mean, just unbelievable. So.
Did you notice any qualities? I mean, you said you looked at him and you were like, oh, yeah, this guy will do well if he lives. Yeah. Was there any qualities that stand out? If you're a young enlisted guy in the Army right now or in any branch and you say to yourself, I want to be a good soldier, is there anything that you noticed about him that you would give as like guidance to a young trooper out there?
He's mission focused. You tell him this is what you need to do or where you need to go. I mean, he's going to make it happen. Cool, calm. He was a smart guy. I mean, he didn't brag about it. When you talk to him, just very humble. But you could tell, I mean, he's smart. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's thinking about what you're saying and what he comes out with, and when he makes recommendations and talks about things, you need to be listening because he's thought this stuff through. No fear from a combat perspective. I mean, if the bad guys are coming, he's going to take them out. And demonstrated that, on several occasions with me. Demonstrated it later on. I think he got hit the next mission after he was with me. But he had put on an AK-47 vest. So
got shot in the
chest.
magazine or something.
Yeah, it went in the magazine. He poked through enough to make a little hole in him, but it didn't go all the way through. But and then he, on another mission, he got shot a couple more times, and another mission, he B-40 rocket hit the team. Everybody was wounded. He had a piece of shrapnel go in through his cheek and kind of lodge over behind his eye, so he's bleeding like a stuck pig, and, the bad guys are coming, and, he takes out 20 of them. Because he's got an RPD, the Soviet kind of a light machine gun, and he just taking people out right and left, with everybody wounded, including him. But that's what he did. Yeah. The only general on record that for a personal firearm carried an AK-47. An AK-47. I mean, he's walking around as a general officer, and instead of having that little pop gun on his hip, he's got an AK-47 slung over his shoulder, and he's telling his aides and bodyguards, hey, if we get in trouble, you don't worry about me. He said, you guys take care of yourself. I'll take care of me. And, it's just unreal. So, but
outstanding.
Anyway, but, we spent a lot of time up on a Marble Mountain together. with the rotation and stuff. So we spent time there. So we'd have those little fights most nights. The bad guys trying to come up and get us. The snipers would shoot at us just before dark. There was one cave opening that was almost on our level, I don't know, 50 meters away from us, that if they worked their way up to that opening, they could shoot just about into us at night. I've got videos of that cave, and you can see how the marble is just chipped off all around the opening of that cave where we were shooting at them at night, when they're up in there and stuff. So we did a lot of stuff together, and it was a good relationship.
So one of the things you got in here in your notes is you guys did a mission, RT Michigan, and you guys inserted into the Laotian border with 101st Airborne. It sounded like a pretty good trick, kind of a...
It was kind of a... When they told us what they wanted us to do, I thought, this sounds like Ranger School. This is exactly a scenario in Ranger School.
What did they tell you they wanted you to
do? This was going to be a walk-in mission, so we would start on the Vietnam side of the border, and we would walk over into Laos to to the area they wanted us to go to. And they wanted us to do that from a position where the 101st was currently located. So there was a battalion from the 101st that was set up right on the border. And so they coordinated to have our team put on steel pots, all that kind of stuff, get on the resupply helicopters. We came in with a resupply like we were, new troops coming to be there. And we jumped off, and then they put us inside the perimeter, but in a section, and said, "Do you need to dig in?" And all the little guys are looking around saying, "What? You need to dig a hole, foxhole, to get in a fighting position." And the response was, "We don't dig." So I told him, "Yeah, you need to dig. I mean, we're out here with people that are going to get bullets going everywhere. You need to dig in." So it was a good thing we did, because it got a little hairy, that night, and it was nice to be able to get down in a hole. And then I met with the company commander and platoon leaders and their forward observer, and I gave them our plan. Here's what we're going to do. But what shocked them was I said, "Okay, these coordinates, I want you to pre-plan that as an artillery target, and here's the name of it. And I want one here and here and here, and these are the names. All I'm going to do is call that name out. Target Roger. I'm not going to give you coordinates. You got to have that already planned. And when I say Roger, I expect the artillery. I'd never had artillery before. So this was great. We were never in range of artillery, and all of a sudden I got it. I planned that stuff all over the place. Yeah. And so what we did the next morning was, at first light, we went down to the stream with the water resupply team. They'd go down and fill all the canteens and things up and bring them up. So we went down with them, dressed like the 101st, and when we got down there, we changed into our Batman suits and gave them the helmets and flak jackets and all that stuff. And they threw them in bags and carried them back up. And we just, went on across the river and to the jungle there on our mission. So hoping that the bad guys thought, nobody had come in that way. So went out on our mission. There was a hatchet force platoon that had been inserted, much further out in the valley. But we went in, and I mean, it was just, different and a cool way to do something. And then, when we got in contact, when I call for those targets, they put it right on them. So that was a cool thing. It was interesting that we had Bargewell and the 1-2 that was on the team with us. We had a little disagreement about our exact location.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm telling those two, no, I'm telling you, we are right here. And they said, no, you're 200 meters off. I said, there's no way. So anyway, we get in contact, and I had told them, I said, you know, if we're where I am, or where I'm saying we are, mm-hmm. there's a fork in the stream, and there's a little footbridge going across one. Right out there, about 150 meters in front of us, is a road, and there's a stream out there. I said, you know, I'll take you down there. But then we made contact, and we had to come out on strings. So when they were lifting...
Was that your first time coming out on strings?
No.
No.
I'd been out before.
Okay.
So they were picking us up, and they couldn't see me because they were in front of me, but I'm pointing
there
down.
It is.
We're right there.
You're
right
getting ready to get shot, but you're like, hey, I was right.
That's
there
right.
It is.
That's right. Yeah. Those are, you know, 10-digit grid coordinates, and they were right on, you know.
So when you were you just using pace count and
use the pace count and use terrain?
Yeah.
You know, I'd spent a lot of time in the woods growing up, mm-hmm. so and particularly in the dark. I love the dark. I can feel the change in the terrain. I know if I'm going uphill, downhill, if I'm on a little side, whatever. So I would take the section of the map that I thought we were going to operate in, and I just memorize it.
Did you guys have 1 to 50,000 maps, or were they 1 to 24?
Yeah, they were. Well, we had both, but depending on the distance that we were going to go.
Uh-huh.
But I could just, I mean, usually we didn't go very far, you know, so you can memorize, if you're used to doing that, the section of the map. I could see it in my mind, you know, when we were moving. Knew where we were, knew what the pace counts were, I knew what the terrain should look like, you know, where we were. I had checkpoints set up that you know, if we're here, we'll see this. If we're here, we'll see this. And, you know, so I could track it, plus I used the pace count. So I knew where I was out there, and that was one thing that I thought was critical, because eventually you're going to have to call for help, and you need to be able to tell them where you are. And under triple canopy jungle, you're not shooting azimuths to hilltops and things like that. I mean, you got to know where you are on the ground, because you know the topology, what it feels like, what it looks like, and how far you've gone. And yeah, that was just a skill set that I had.
No more important piece of information on the battlefield than where you are. If you don't know where you are, it doesn't matter where the enemy is, because you can't call for fire, you can't maneuver on them, because you don't know where you are. When you guys were you guys just getting overwhelmed? Is that why you guys had to come out on strings on that one?
Yeah.
How big was the enemy force, do you think, that you rolled into? In your notes here, you said lots. It says lots of NVA.
I typically use the term lots, meaning, you know, 100 or more. So,
how did you guys stumble across them?
I'm sorry.
Where'd the contact come from? Like, what did that contact start like?
It really started because headquarters decided they needed to resupply us because they wanted us to stay longer. And I was saying, no, don't bring a helicopter out here and hover over our position. Don't do that. Yeah, you got to get resupplied. And they did it anyway. So, you know, once you have a chopper hovering above the canopy there, dropping stuff down through it, the bad guys, I mean, they're all over the place anyway. They said, oh, there must be somebody down there. If nothing else, they're going to go get whatever fell out of the helicopter. And they did. They came down there, and there we were. So it kind of, you know, messed up the afternoon in terms of what we'd planned to do, you know, but we got out. But it's an extraction on strings through, you know, double canopy jungle. It's rough because you're being dragged through the limbs of the trees, through the treetops. The aircraft will always start to go forward, and then you're being drugged through them. And
they want to get the hell out of the line of fire, right?
Yeah, because they're getting shot at. They don't want to stay there long. You're getting shot at, and it's hard for you to shoot because you're twisting and turning and hitting leaves, and, you know, now they're behind you, and it's hard to shoot that way. And, you know,